Hi, it's Claire and welcome to Needle Say More. Today I'm just going to show you how to create an upcycled summer shirt. So I had this really soft white muslin with the lovely floral edging and embroidery on that was from when my daughter was younger. So they used for swaddling or laying babies down on or using as a blanket. I really wanted to create something out of it. It feels super soft. So I used my well-loved Seneca shirt pattern, so you can see that I've chopped it to bits, but I managed to get the pocket, collar, yoke, sleeve and the front panel out of this. I managed to use the floral trim for the hem of the shirt, the hem of the pocket and the bottom of the sleeve. It was really tricky getting the yoke out, so I had to do this out of two separate pieces once all the fabric was cut out. So that bit above the sleeve, that long panel, had to refold that after I'd cut everything out to make the yoke. So I was really pleased once I'd cut everything out. There was this random shaped bit that was in the middle over the sleeve, so I managed to fold this into the centre and use the folded pieces to create the yoke, because the yoke piece you have to use twice, so cut two on the fold. And I managed to get this out of this small bit of fabric, so it was really economical with the fabric and there wasn't much waste. Because I didn't have quite enough fabric in the shirt to make the shirt all out of the white muslin, the muslins actually came in this 2-pack. So this fabric matches the binding around the outside of the white one. So I had to use this piece to create the back panel underneath the yoke. So I placed the back panel so that it was on the edge, so I could use the hem of the muslin for the bottom of the back, just like I had on the front. Once all of the pattern pieces were cut out, I started off by constructing the back of the shirt, so using the 2 white pieces of muslin for the yoke and then the floral piece for the back. And this shirt's got a really nice box pleat in the back, which really showed off the fabric. The next thing I did was to construct the collar. So I interfaced one side of the collar and the collar stand, but not the other one. It was quite tricky sewing this on my machine. At times I did have to use tweezers to get it through, but the interfacing added a nice structure to the muslin fabric without it being too stiff. And I think it did need to be interfaced because it might have looked too soft without it. It was really important to me to have the bias binding on the bottom of the sleeves to capture that detail. I was really pleased I managed to cut it out with that. And then the muslin fabric worked really nicely together, the tops of the sleeves, so they didn't look too full, but it just gave them a nice bit of volume. Just like that. I was really pleased with them. So just a cheeky little mid-project progress check. Then we were onto the side seams. So I went from the hem of the sleeve down the side seam and I went almost to the end but not quite. I think I left a vent of about 6 or 7 centimetres, so be a little gap at the side so that the hem wouldn't look too boxy. Then one of the last stages was to do the buttons and the buttonholes. So this shirt had buttons and buttonholes all the way down the front. Because I lengthen the pattern, I usually wait till the end and then evenly space out my buttons and buttonholes and measure and mark on at the end. So I absolutely loved this shirt. I was so happy with it. But when I tried it on at the end, I was super happy with it. It felt so soft, so cosy. Loved the floral trim on the end, but that pocket, it was just not doing me any favours. It was too high up. It looked too boxy, too bulky, so it needed to come off. Who did I think I was unpicking a pocket on double gauze? I now have got holes in the fabric. That side isn't too bad. This side was worse, and I tried to stitch it up. I think it looks even worse. So, and I'm not wasting the shirt. So I'm either going to put some white over it and then do some decorative stitching over the top, or I think the pink might look a bit better in the floral because it will kind of pick out all the details. Watch the space and I'll let you know how I repair this error. So I've done 3 samples. I've done a wiggly line, some flowers, which I think is probably a bit twee, and then I quite like this at the bottom because it's kind of punched into the fabric. I think it makes an interesting effect. So I've pinned a little piece to cover it, and then I'm hoping if I put that over the top it'll kind of cover it but look like an interesting design piece. So the first row's gone on, and actually it does look quite nice. I'm going to do a second row, maybe even a third though, because it just looks a bit flappy at the moment. So I have fixed the pocket fiasco. It does look a little bit random having this stripe across here, but I have got the contrast detail on the bottom of the sleeves from the original muslin and on the hem and on the back. So I mean, I can totally live with it, and it makes it totally wearable, and it just adds a bit of interest at the front, I guess. So the shirt is now finished. I'm glad that I took the pocket off because I think having a big old bulky pocket here just wasn't doing me any favours. So it's got the lovely little bit of embroidery from the muslin there. I've kept the edge of the muslin for the hems. I didn't manage to do it on the collar, I did want to. Around the bottom of the sleeves, I put that on to fix the little pocket fiasco I had, and then because I didn't quite have enough fabric, I've used the muslin because it came as a 2-pack. I used the other muslin as the back. So this is a muslin that my daughter had when she was little, like the big ones that you swaddle in, and I just loved it, and it's like wearing a lovely cozy baby blanket, and it will always remind me of her, and it's lovely that I've been able to make something out of the fabric. I still have a bit left, so I'm going to make something for her as well, because I think that would be really special for her to have something made out of it.